Hey, good morning. Good Monday morning. So I'm back again here, and I usually don't wait for people to get on just because I know people can watch it at a later time. So I just kind of get right into things. So if you haven't seen any of my other videos, I just felt very impressed about a month ago to begin to do videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday mornings. That has to do with my journey through fear and anxiety and panic attacks, and just letting people know my journey. Hopefully people are watching too that maybe have been through it. If you haven't been through it, maybe somebody that you know has been through it or is going through it right now. It's huge. It's a rampant problem. It keeps people from doing what they want to do. It keeps people from doing what God has created them to do. It keeps them in fear. It keeps them home. It keeps them wondering when the next attack is going to be there. And it's a life lived. It's a hellish existence. And I lived it for about 25 years. It looks like Sonnet is watching. If you are, hi, and Ken Mosner, hi to you too. Anyway, I'm not going to go way back. I'm just going to give you a quickie brief history. If you want to know more, you're going to have to go back and watch the other videos that I did. Go on my wall and do that. So I came here when I was almost 3. I was adopted from Germany, and I never knew a life without fear as a child. I came over here as a fearful child. I was fearful of everything. I was fearful that my parents, that something was going to happen to them. I was fearful that they would leave on vacation and never come back again. I was fearful that they would get sick. I was fearful that I would get sick. I was fearful if the neighbor got sick. I just, fear ruled my life. And I was 11 years old when I had my first full-blown panic attack. Hey, Michelle, how are you? And that lasted for almost 25 years. Again, not every single day, but so I was 11 years old, 11 or 12, told my parents when I was 16. Doctor said, you're just a normal teenager. Went to the doctor and came to find out that I was not just a normal teenager. You know, when I started talking about it a little bit, I didn't find anybody at that time. So I felt very alone, honestly felt that I was the only person in the whole world going through this. And that took me through a journey of all kinds of things. But the great thing is that, like I say on every title, it is my journey through. Okay, so when you go through something, you come out on the other side. And I've been out on the other side for almost 20 years, actually 20 years. So today the nugget that I want to give you though is what you talk about, what we talk about, what we concentrate on, what we put our attention to with our thoughts and with our mouth, with what we say, grows. Okay, it grows and grows and grows. That's just the way it is, you know. So if you're always thinking about your husband's, habit of snoring, or I don't know, you know what I mean? Just maybe a crazy little habit that your husband has, but man, oh man, you're thinking about it all the time, and you're concentrating on it, and you're telling people about it. You're out to lunch with the women, and you're talking about it, and you're like, and what happens with that? It gets larger than life, right? And you think like, why isn't this going away? You know, why isn't, you talk to him about it, geez, oh Pete's, you always have to do that. You're talking to him about it, you're thinking about it, you're talking to people about it, you're thinking, why isn't this going away? Because you're always talking about it, right? Your talk about it is like watering the seeds of what's going on. And it just becomes larger than life. And that's the same thing that can happen with fear, anxiety, panic attacks. I get that you're going through it. If you're watching this or you are going to share it, and please do share this, share it with people. Tell them to get, listen to these messages if you know people that are going through this. But anyway, you've got the fear, you've got the panic attacks, but you find yourself talking about it and thinking about it all of the time. You know, you're talking to people, somebody calls you, you call a friend, and you're like, oh my gosh, my anxiety is so bad today, I just can't even take it anymore, I don't know what I'm going to do. First of all, you're saying my anxiety. So go back and watch last week's Friday where I talk about not personalizing it. Stop calling it my anxiety. Stop taking it as yours. And okay, so listen to that message. But you're talking about it, and I get it. You know, we've been in a real what do I want to say, era or season, I don't quite know how to say it, of you got to talk about it all the time. You know, you got to be, you got to be transparent. You got to always talk about your stuff. You've got to, I'm talking about it right now so that I can resonate with you guys, so that I can give you nuggets. I'm talking about it as somebody who's broke free, right? And I didn't know that principle necessarily when but I'm inherently not that kind. Like, I don't get on the phone and tell people about it. So I didn't talk about it a lot, which was a good thing. I didn't know it at the time because that's just the way kind of my personality is. I just don't do it, right? But there's a lot of you that do. There's a lot of people that do. And there's a thing about sharing it, and you're getting some sympathy from people, right? You're getting some, and for the moment it might feel good, right? But it's not going to bring you freedom. That's not what brings you freedom. And you keep thinking, gosh, this anxiety thing, this panic attack thing, it just keeps getting bigger. This fear thing keeps getting bigger. Well, I would say to you, think about how often you're talking about it. Hey, Marissa, how are you? And Bev, how are you? It's good to see you. I'm here. So think about how often you're talking about it. Again, you have fear, you have anxiety, you have panic attacks, but you're talking about it. What does that do? That's watering it, okay? The seed of fear has been planted, unfortunately, and has turned into, maybe for you, anxiety, panic attacks, okay? So the seed has been planted, and you're watering it with your words. You're watering it with the words that you're speaking. And if you are speaking about it all the time, if you're always speaking negative about it, I get that it's a deal. I understand it. But give that a shot. This is a nugget for you. Stop talking about it. Stop calling everybody about it. Just stop it in its tracks and begin to speak positively about it. And if you can't at that moment, if it's like, then don't say anything at all, okay? Because it's the way God has designed things, right? Seeds are planted, and it's not just seeds in the ground, but we plant seeds. There's seeds planted in our minds about certain things, right? This is fear, and our words and our thoughts are the water that makes the seeds grow. So if it keeps growing and it keeps getting worse and it keeps, then think about and consider how often you're talking about it, how often you're telling people about it, how often somebody approaches you and says, how are you doing? Oh my gosh, I'm still, and if you've told a lot of people about it and they approach you, how's your anxiety? How's your panic attacks going? You got to stop those kind of things. I get it. They're well-meaning, but even if you have to say, what, right now I prefer not to talk about it. I'm working on it, but I prefer not to talk about it. Okay. Am I saying, boy, you can never mention it to one person ever? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you can never, ever, ever talk about it again. No, but think about how often you do talk about it. Think about how often it's in your thoughts, okay? And just begin to change that, because again, your words and your thoughts about anything in life, right, are seeds. What you think about, what you draw your attention to, what you talk about in life grows, okay? What you don't put your attention to is going to eventually get smaller and smaller and smaller and fade and then be gone. All right? So consider that. That can work for the good and it can work, for the not so good. So that's my nugget today, right? Think about the words that are coming out of your mouth. Think about how often you're talking about fear and anxiety. Think about how often you're thinking about it, and begin to curb that each and every day. Begin to talk less about it. begin to talk more positively about it, begin to talk differently about it. And you're going to start to see it shrink if you do that. All right. So if you just got on and just heard the last part of it, just go back and watch the rest of the video. Just another nugget, number 7, I think, for you today. And I'll be back on Wednesday with some more nuggets. All right. Thanks. Have a great day.